Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and today, excuse me, already with the cough. I don't really have a card to make for you today. I'm going to show you more of how I do some watercoloring. Now, I know there's lots of different ways to do watercoloring, so I'm going to just show you like one version that kind of makes things fast and simple that I learned a long time ago, and really I haven't done it for a while. So let me show you. I'm going to use this celebrating flower stamp set. Now, I haven't even played with this stamp set. This is the first time. I bought this back in March when it was on sale. It has coordinating dies. They're called sunflower dies, but I'm going to use some shimmer white cardstock here, and I'm going to just throw it in my stamp radish just because it's a big stamp and easier. And I'm going to kind of put it out here on the edge, stay away from this corner. I think you get a better image out here. So that big old sunflower here, I'm going to put it right here. Okay, Paul. So my cat here is joining me, and he found a miller or a moth or whatever you call them, and we used to call them millers growing up, and the miller is driving him crazy, so he's all over my stamp desk, and I'm worried he's going to attack the miller right in my, but he's like right there, and he better be a good boy. Okay, anyway, so I have my stamp mounted. Look, I haven't even put the stickers on there. I need to do that. But I'll show you later in the video how I put the stickers on my stamps on a little bit smaller one later as just a tip. Okay, and I'm going to use an empty or an extra stamp pad just to, so now my surface is flat here to stamp on. And the first thing I'm going to do, because I want to emboss this, I'm going to heat emboss it. The embossing powder is going to help my water stay where I want it when I watercolor. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Versamark and I'm going to ink up my stamp over here really good. I might overdo it, better to overdo it than underdo it, I guess. And I'm going to do that. Now, I want my flower to be brown, so I'm going to take my early espresso and I'm going to put early espresso right over that Versamark. Now, early espresso over Versamark is fine. Versamark over early espresso is not fine. That will stain your Versamark. So make sure you put the Versamark down first and then your color. So then I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to just put this on my paper here. Give it lots of pressure. Make sure I get a nice image on there. And let's see how it turned out. Oh yeah, it looks pretty good. Now, something I say, I usually tell you I'll take this under the sink and rinse it with water. Now that it has the Versamark on there, I would probably spritz it on there, and then I would take it to the sink, and then I found this cool facial brush at Dollar Tree, and then I would scrub all that ink off there just right under the sink. It just makes it really easy to clean your stamp like that, but I'll do that later. I'm going to just set that aside. Hopefully I won't get ink everywhere. I'm going to turn my heat gun on so it might get noisy and bring in my clear embossing powder, but this way my heat gun can heat up and it won't take so long to melt that embossing powder. I keep my embossing powders in a container like this, then it's just easier to take your cardstock and just scoop it up like that. Flick off some extra, maybe tap it. But now, and you can't probably see it on the camera, whoops, I'm going to put that too far. But now I have that embossing powder stuck onto that early espresso, which is stuck onto the Versamark. And now my heat tool is pretty warm. Now I'm using the old style heat tool. Stampin' Up! Has a new heat tool that has 2 settings, so be sure that if you're doing the heat embossing that you click it twice to get it really warm. But you can see that embossing powder turned from a powder back into like a plastic coating, and I believe that embossing powder is just shaved plastic, so we're really going to make that plastic melt onto your paper. Now, not too long. You don't want to burn your cardstock or your paper. But let's see if I got it all. Yeah, and I don't know if you can see on camera, but now I have a really pretty shiny, kind of bumped up flower there. Okay, and when I say bumped up, I mean it just has that embossing powder on the edges, which is going to help us to hold our water where we want it when we're watercoloring. So I have the paper towels here. I'm going to just use one at a time in case I need both of them. I'm going to even fold it in half so it doesn't take up the whole table here. Get rid of this stuff. And then I'm going to bring in here, we're going to start with some crushed curry ink. And I have my water painters. Now, water painters come in 3 different sizes. The large, this is the medium that I'm going to use, and then the small. And then I just have an extra block here. I'm going to just put that right in my ink pad, and now I have a paint palette here that I can use. Okay, so I'm going to take my water painter here, and I'm going to just squeeze. It has a little button right here, I guess you'd call it, that says push. You probably can't see that on camera, but trust me, it's there. And I'm going to just squeeze right there and get some water in the center of my block. A few 5 drops maybe, and then make a big old puddle right here in the center. Now, because my waters, I'm keeping it in the center. That way the edges are going to be darker than the center that's going to be lighter. More waters, less color, less water, more color, if that helps. And then I'm going to just take this pretty light and I'm going to just go over the top. And I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of making pools of water on my flower here. And then that embossing powder is keeping the water inside the lines. And this is going to be, I'm going to try to make this fast and not painful so you don't have to watch the whole thing really slow. But I'm going to color or put that water all down on my flower here. Keep picking up some more water, put it down here in those points, just try to get it down there in the corners. I guess, do points have corners? But you know what I mean. Now try not to do that. I just went out of the line, shame on me, but I'm going to die cut it later anyway, so it'll be all right. And did I mention at the end of the video I have some finished cards that I'll show you. We probably won't make too many cards. Well, we're not going to make any cards, but I'll show you how I finished the projects after the watercoloring. But you're getting the picture, right? How you put the water down, and that water is kind of pooling and holding that ink, sinking into the paper. I'm going to put some more water on there, make a big pool here. Pick up some more color, see how it got lighter? There we go, now we got darker, a little bit darker again. But this is just putting on the base coat to get my whole flower yellow. And take your time, because a couple of times now here I've gone out of the lines, I guess, which, like I said, it won't matter. I don't think this is supposed to be perfect. If you want it colored perfect and in the lines and like that, I would suggest more of that you would use, sorry, I can't do 2 things at once. The Stampin' Blends, those would be a nice coloring tool. This is watercoloring, which I think kind of looks messy. So there I have my flower all done. Now, right here, I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a lot of pooling there, so you can even dab off the water off your paintbrush like this, or your water painter, and then pick up some of that water if it has too much pooling on there, if that makes sense. Wait, I got a couple spots here that are still white that I want to make sure are yellow. There we go. Okay, so now quickly, I'm going to just clean my brush, and I'm just squeezing the tip of my brush really hard and getting all that water, and you can see now that my paintbrush is pretty clean. He's not leaving any yellow on there. I'm going to take my block and just wipe him off, and look, now he's good to go. So let's bring in some soft suede ink. And the soft suede, we're going to pick up just a little bit of brown on that block again. Whew, I don't need that much, but I'm going to just do the inside the same way. So lots of water here on my block. Make that little pool in the center. See, that's all right. And then I'm going to just start in the center here, and I'm going to just color in that center of my flower. Just a light, like I said, this is just putting down some color the first time. And I want a little bit more color than that, so I'm going to bring in some of that edge where it's not, doesn't have the water, and put some more color on my brush and get a little bit more vibrant. There we go. Now it's a little bit darker. Okay, now we're going to clean off my block again, nice and clean. And then I'm going to clean my brush. There again, I'm squeezing that barrel, getting all that color off of my brush. There we go. And I don't think I got all the color off my block. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to that yellow. And this time, this is where I feel like I'm artistic. I have no artistic ability whatsoever. I'm pretty crafty and yeah, I guess I'd say I'm crafty, but not artsy. I have trouble seeing like the shadowing and the blending of colors and stuff like that. So to do something like this, it's kind of my way of faking the fact that I'm artsy, because I'm really not. But I've picked up a lot of color here, and I'm trying to get it a lot darker than I have here. And then I'm going to just go through and kind of highlight those lines that Stampin' Up! Already put on the stamp with a little bit darker. And this gives it just, like I said, those highlights and stuff that I can't see myself. I'm going to just use the color from the stamp set with these little lines here and kind of add some shadowing and texture to my flower here. Again, if it's too dark, you just add more water. And if it's too dark on your paper, let me see if I can get someplace where it's really dark. You can just add more water on your paper and move that around. So say that's a little bit dark, I'm going to add some water here. And then I can take that color, let me make sure, yeah, and then kind of move that and lighten it up a little bit. I don't know if you saw that, but the more color, more water is less color. Less water means more color. But I'm going to just quickly, and now I suggest you take your time. On my finished project, I'll show you how I took my time and made it look really good. But we're going to just move that color, or add that color there to where the stamp has the shading there. Over here. So you get the idea, right, of how it would look. You could add some more color to the inside, but I'm going to show you one more time. Let's stamp those leaves just so you know. I'm going to clean my brush here real quick. How to do the embossing with the colors again, because I would hate for you to ruin your Versamark stamp. So let's take that stamp set again here. Plus I'll have this ready for me to finish another card. And I'm going to take, where'd my stamp set go? Here it is. I'm going to take this big leaf right here, and I'm going to just throw it on that same block that we were just using for the watercoloring, and I'm going to ink it up again in Versamark, right? And then I'm going to ink it up this time in some garden green ink. So here again, I'm going to ink that up and stamp it down. So now it's green, right? Now I can't go back to my Versamark with the green ink on here. I have to clean this off. So let me grab a chamois here. I'm going to clean my stamp again, or clean my stamp. Make sure it's really clean. I don't want any color onto my Versamark. And I'm going to even take a piece of scratch paper here and just make sure it's clean, clean, and it's clean, clean now. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my Versamark, and then to my green, and stamp again. So see, that way, make sure you use the Versamark first. It keeps your Versamark nice and clean, and then you go to the color. I'm going to turn my heat gun on again. And put that powder onto my little leaf here. And then when you heat set those, you have a nice embossed colored image with the clear embossing powder. So it looks like that. Then I would do the same thing. I would take the green ink, and with the water and the aqua painter or the water painter, this thingy here, and I would color my leaves just the same way like that. Now, when I'm all said and done, I'd take my heat tool again. I'd probably turn my paper over and I would dry my paper really good, or you could let it sit overnight. But then when it's all said and done, then I would take the dies and I would cut them out and I would put them on a card to look something like this. Isn't that pretty? Look how pretty those colors are on that. And like I said, I'm not artsy at all, but just adding a little bit of color where Stampin' Up! Has those lines and shading makes it look like you're artistic. And so let me tell you the products that I used on this card, because I've used a bunch of the Memories and More packs. So first of all, I used the card bases. These are the Heart and Home Memories and More card bases. So I just took the card base, folded it in half, and then I used pieces of this little Memory More pack. That would be this piece here on the top. They come in 2 different sizes, so these little pieces here are perfect for card fronts. One side, I think, let me see if I can, one side is pretty plain. These don't have any words on it. And then the other side mostly have sayings and stuff, probably for scrapbooking. And I'm not much of a scrapbooker, I'm more of a card maker. So I like to take these little pieces and I use them like that on my card front. I went to my go-to stamp called Go-To Greetings, right? And it's this happy birthday, this medium happy birthday right here. I just fussy cut it and I popped it up on some dimensionals and put it right there on my card. And then the final thing for this is I just took some of those brass metallic dots, whatever these are. I thought these looked a little bit more rustic, a little bit more wholesome, I guess, with the big sunflower rather than blingy for a fancy card like that. And look how pretty. I was really happy with how my card turned out. And the hardest part was decorating or doing that flower, which, as you could see, didn't take too long at all. So let me show you another project. In fact, this was the first one when I started playing with this idea. I used this stamp set, Blessings of Home. Now it has a coordinating die set called Flowers of Home. This is available as a bundle in the mini catalog till the end of June, and then it is carried over to the new catalog, but it won't be a bundle. So if you're interested in this one and want to save 10%, I suggest you go and get it now. But I took that and I embossed it in, oh, I stuck it in here so I wouldn't lose it. I embossed it in white on white cardstock, and I did it with some, I colored it with some petal pink and some of that Pear Pizzazz. And look how pretty that is. I did take the whole thing afterward and I just colored all those flowers with some Winkostella. Now I don't think you can see that on the camera. Well, maybe you can, but look how pretty that Winkostella looks on those flowers. There again, I took that go-to stamp set. I warned you, I'll probably be using this a lot. This time, I just embossed it on some white, straight onto that card base, using the white embossing powder and Versamark. And this time, I used these, and I have to look in the catalog, because these don't have any, there's no label or anything on these. But these are the abstract card packets. And look how pretty. First of all, you know how I love a beautiful envelope. Look how pretty the envelopes are in that card packet, right? And then just a card base like this. And now there's just one of each. I keep looking to see if I could find another one like I used. But it's just a bunch of card bases like that. Now these cards are a little different. These are 4 by 6 when you're all done with your card size, not our usual 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Boy, that was a test right there, right? But no worries, because it has the envelopes that match, so you can still have an envelope for your card there. So then, like I said, I think this is my least favorite. I think it was the white on white, although this morning, you never do that. You make a card the night before, and then the next morning you wake up and you look at the card again and it looks way different. Because now as I look this one, I think this one's pretty. It's really pretty. And then I did take the inside like this, and with my blending brushes, I just added a little bit of color with that same pink and I believe that crushed curry to kind of make it coordinate with the outside. It looked kind of dry. And I did also take my blender pen here and picked up a little bit of the polished pink just to get the insides and give that uncolored flower a little bit of character. So look how pretty. Now that I look at it, this one might not be my least favorite of all. But after I did this one in the white, and I decided maybe it was the white that I didn't like, and I wanted to use some of this abstract 4x6 paper, and this has that beautiful gold silver on there. Look how pretty those packs are. So I took this paper here, I did the same kind of thing as my background, right? And I stamped that, or I embossed that flower now in the gold to match the little gold splatters in the back, and look how pretty that is. Now that's the same color. I used the petal pink and the pear pizzazz to watercolor my flowers. I did take a piece of petal pink here and emboss that happy birthday. Same stamp set. This time I just used the itty bitty little happy birthday there, and I used my double oval punch to punch those layers out. And of course you got to add those pretty little brushed brass butterflies on something like that. Oh, and on this card, I don't know if you've seen them in the catalog, but on this card for my little bling here, I use those new iridescent pearls. Excuse me. And let me tell you, those are really pretty. I don't know if you can see the iridescent. No, in the camera it just looks like pearls, right? But they are really pretty. They have that iridescent to them, and wow, I think that was a great finishing touch. So that's all I have. Those are the 3 cards that I did. Let me bring them all in for you. A pack, I really didn't cut anything down. Cut down from 6x4 down to 5 1/4, just so it's a card base here. So I have a little scrap like this left over after I cut this piece down. But these other pieces, I just used the Memories and More pack and didn't even have to cut my cardstock. But for all the supplies, you could go to my blog, becreativewithkathy.com. Give me just a few minutes. If you're watching here on Facebook, I'm going to post this onto YouTube, and then I'll have all the supply list on my blog, becreativewithkathy.com. So there you go. You'll have to let me know, which one do you like? Do you like the white embossing on the white? It's growing on me. It's starting to like it a lot. I do love the gold, but I think the sunflower with the brown is my favorite. Alrighty, there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.